Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're here with the comic Ethan David. Ethan David, how the hell are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. How are you?
Oh, doing good. Thank you so much for coming on. And I know I follow you everywhere where you're doing the online funny stuff. You are Ethan Davidson. I'm sorry, this is fucking hilarious. Ethan Davidism. Ethan
Yes.
Davidism on both Twitter and Instagram, and ethandavidcomedy.com. And there we can find things like you had a mod team at UCB, and it was Bedrock Comedy, and you're still doing some virtual sketches, etc. And also, this is what I look like naked.
Yes. That
So
is
yeah, so
that
tell
is
me,
me in a nutshell.
yeah, so tell me kind of how you juggled all that while UCB was still around, and tell me about the short film.
I mean, yeah, it was a lot of running around. It's basically I've been doing sketch comedy for about 7 years now. I've done a lot of different programs, a lot of different indie teams, and I just gotten on like a team at the UCB theater, and we were about 3 shows in when the theater shut down. But yeah.
I think I had Erica Hernandez on. I think she said something similar. I think that after their first night, she was fucked. They were done.
Yeah, that's what I just met Erica last weekend. We did a show together, a
Oh,
virtual
cool.
show. Yeah.
Oh, cool. And so, like, yeah, I saw that you had a virtual show July 16th. And so, are you just kind of publishing sketches as they're done, or, are you kind of releasing them on a schedule so the next one we could expect will be, October 16th or something?
Yeah, that July 16th show was our first virtual one. It's basically all the mod teams just kind of came together and did like a virtual mod night, which is a lot of fun. It was really great to kind of see what everyone's interpretation of that was, because it's all these like stage teams, it's like it's not like, because digital sketch comedy is a whole different beast. So it's funny to see that sort of like transition and how like different teams went about approaching a digital show. But
And
so that went well.
were some of them in the same room together, or was it a lot of, here's 4 Zoom windows and they're each kind of interacting in a funny way, like, a Parks and Recreation reunion recently?
I'd say there was a lot of Zoom sketches, and then a lot of like people just kind of filming like one character sketches.
Yeah.
Our set, we only had I think one Zoom sketch, and then we would do like a lot of like just like one person sketches, or it'd be like we had one where it was like a radio broadcast that someone's listening to and reacting to, so we kind of brought all together. We had fun ways of kind of and we had like weeding in and out, like sort of like runners and whatnot. So there's like different fun ways to like make it work, kind of like what SNL at home was doing and stuff like that.
Yeah. So as a big fan of SNL and things like that, can you explain what what kind of a mod team or a mod night is? And feel free to do so in the vernacular of SNL. Like, does it have to do with the writing process or the performance process? Like what is mod versus something else? I know Harold, I don't want to confuse improv and sketch, but what is mod night in relation to other things in relation to SNL?
Yeah, so mod night is it's the house sketch comedy teams. These are the teams that they put together at the theater, and every month you have a new show. So you have a month to come up with something, and there's not really a whole lot of oversight there. You can write it in a week, or you can write it in a month. I mean, like it's right whatever your team comes up with in terms of schedule, and you hire a director of your choosing or who's available, and you just have like a month to put together a live sketch comedy show. It's usually about 6 writers on a team, so it's usually about 6 sketches, 6 writers, 6 actors.
And so the 6 sketches, well, like, so your time slot is roughly like an hour or 2 for those 6 sketches.
I'd say like you get paired with another team, so I think the whole slot is like an hour. It's about half hour, maybe go a little over. But
So each team does a half an hour. But if I go see, if I go to UCB or something like that, I stay for the hour. I see 2 teams. I see 12 sketches from 2 teams. Then do I also see additional hours of 2 teams per hour?
No, you'll see that every night, like mod night, is like 2 teams, and so they'll have like a host there who's like promoting another show. So they'll come out at the beginning, they'll set it up, and then one team will just do their whole set. Then the host will come back out, they'll do another bit, then they'll set up the next team, will do their whole set. And then that's just the end of Mod Night for that week. I think there's 8 teams total. So it's like every month you see like each week is like a different slot for the 2 teams.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, and I think I talked a little bit about this with some other some other sketch writers and performers and things like that. And I think I was taken by the fact that sometimes it's almost tragic that these things are worked on for a whole month, and you just kind of do them for one night. And I guess that always leads to the question: are these things also being recorded for posterity, and where can we find those?
They are. That's definitely the thing with it is that I think it's always best to see live comedy live. I mean, I think there are cameras there. We do record it. We do put it online. And then I think the videographers that we had, I should be plugging. I'm sorry, I don't remember the names, but they're really
a great videographer, the best sketch videographer of all time. His or her name is escaping me though.
Yeah, but anyways, it was just like it is like sorry, Jack Frederick is his name. I just like, but yeah, he's very great. But yeah, anyways, it is nice to like have it like kind of immortalized through this live through these videos. But you can find us through we have a YouTube channel called it's just called UCB Mod Night, where you can see from this past season, which I know wasn't long, but with 8 teams, 3 shows, that's a lot of sketches. You can go out and see a good handful of sketches on there. And then with the virtual Mod Night, we all did our shows, and now we're just kind of releasing them all individually. Like, the actors will put it on their Instagrams, and then we have our own YouTube channels, each team, including the Mod Night YouTube channel. And so we're like,
Bad Rock Comedy will be on the Mod Night YouTube, but it will also have its own YouTube?
Yeah, we're using our own YouTube for the virtual one.
Oh, okay.
But we do have a presence on the UCB Mod Night YouTube channel. And, we're putting out more virtual ones, actually. We're in already talking about the next batch of sketches, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the couple questions that come to mind are, first of all, who is you write, and I think you also perform, and so what's a character that Ethan David is good at either writing or performing, and also, if I watch all the sketches of UCB online, how will that stack up to SNL? Would it be raunchier? Will it be a little bit more experimental? Will it be funnier because it comes from fresher angles?
I mean, it'll definitely be a lot more like kind of guerrilla raw, like black box theater. Like we don't have like an entire art department with all these props and with all these costumes and with these great stage production. And we don't have like cameras and like that are like kind of like I know SNL's performed live, but like it needs to work on those 2 fronts, the like digital front and the live front, because people are mostly watching it on their couches.
Yeah.
And like whereas like with live comedy, you're writing for a live audience. Like, yeah, we're taping it, we're putting it online, we're hoping people are watching it at home and enjoying it. But you are like writing in with the live audience in mind. What's gonna rope them in, what's gonna get them in. And so it is like very bare bones. Like we'll have props, but it's very minimal compared to like an SNL or anything like that. And then I mean, like in terms of like characters, I mean, I personally like more like group sketches, like ensemble. Like I love character sketches. Like watching as a writer, I think I like to incorporate all the actors, and like I really like, especially on our team on Bedrock, all of the actors on our team were on a mod team the year before. And all of their writers like left either for jobs or for like just leaving Mod Night. They've been doing it for a while. And so they had these 6 actors that they stuck together with no writers. So they just took 6 new writers whose first time ever doing Mod Night, 6 like brand new writers, and they just assigned it to these 6 actors who had been working together already. And so that was an interesting dynamic to kind of come in and write for these people that had this. We were able to kind of, like in football, like go back and watch the tape. Like we were able to kind of watch and see like, oh, this is how they play off each other really well. So I personally like ensemble sketches. I like writing for like the whole team and like way that they can interact.
So instead of like a Stefan, where it's just Stefan being hilarious on SNL, you're more of a here's a situation where everybody in the scene can be pretty hilarious.
Yeah, like I think my first sketch was like a drinking song for not being in the mood to drink, and it was just like a like everyone at the bar with like a shanty, like like you'd see in like a bunch of sailors or something, but like they're drinking water and they're like just a little tired.
I love that because they know they're supposed to be drinking. They know they usually drink that time every night, but they did drink for the last 20 nights in a row. So it's like, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
guys. A little sheepishly, I have to admit that, man, it'd be nice to take a night off and get some real sleep.
I got like a big day tomorrow, and I'm just like I'm exhausted. Like yeah, like it's one night. But they still have all the Bravo and like the guys swinging swinging their arms around each other as they're talking about just like
And
got to call it early tonight.
and so I guess like for a great idea like that, how'd you come up with it?
That
How
one
does
I
a
would say
sketch?
is
Yeah,
pretty
how does this? Yeah.
autobiographical.
Oh, really? Okay, so you kind of
Yeah,
say, any
well,
feeling
I'll
or
say
thought you have, you're like, oh man, this actually could be a good sketch.
yeah, I mean, like I just I always enjoyed those sea shanties and like like the arm swinging and like the drinking song. I think it's very funny. It's not something you actually really see anymore. And then I just think it's like a very relatable sentiment to just like just not be like to be at a bar when you're not in the mood to drink is like it's just something that's like a very I think recognizable sentiment. So I just wanted to kind of pair those two together and see what would come out of it.
Yeah, that's hilarious,
Uh,
and it really has to be fresh because the more tired the setting is, I think SNL did like a pirate ship, and the minute it opens, I'm like, I don't want to see this fucking shit. It's gonna be awful. It's gonna be maritime humor. I've seen Hook. I've seen all these things 4,000 times. Pirates of the Caribbean. And then it turns
yeah.
out to be them talking about Captain Hook, hanging around with, or Peter Pan hanging around with young kids, and they're like, should we be hanging out with kids this young? That kid was like 5, dude. Should we be hanging out with that dude? So it's got to be
Yeah,
fresher. Yeah. So like, do tell me kind of, there you have a tired, maybe a tired setting that is instantly recognizable, but, overused, and you put a real fresh spin on it. And that fresh spin is apparent in the first 5 seconds. But if you had another scene that was perfectly novel, if it's set, just at a bizarre, like it's set, I can't even, on a tightrope or something like that. Like it would be written differently. It could actually evolve slower. Like you wouldn't need to, people would be interested just because it's a novel setting. You wouldn't need to tell jokes in the first 5 seconds. So like, what are some other ideas that you had without burning material, but how do they kind of, what are some of the things you notice? Like, oh, shit, it's a tired setting. I have to be fresh immediately. Or like, when to reveal the jokes. Does that differ, the more novel a situation is?
yeah. I think when you reveal the joke, you want it to come down like a hammer. Like you want it to be like the hammer of Thor and just like hit the audience like, oh, okay, because like the audience is almost like kind of sitting there like giddy and like what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? And so
Yeah.
like like from that hook that in the beginning whether or not the sketch is gonna work or not. Because if they don't laugh at that first twist, then it means that buckle up because we're gonna be doubling down on this show for 5 minutes. It's like every sketch is very specific on like zeroing in on that one funny thing. And so I
Yeah.
think I think yeah, I personally I agree with you. I think like yeah, the more novel the setting, in general, the more novel the premise, the less hard jokes you kind of have to like write with, and the more you can kind of just like let that novel situation kind of play itself out. I
Yeah.
had
Kind of.
another sketch that was sorry, yeah, I was just gonna say I had this other one that was like like the last day of camp when like there's like that show where all like the campers start impersonating the counselors, and it's just like I had that, but it was just like they started impersonating this like demon camp counselor lord named Gorlak who like comes in like
That's
takes over their
funny.
cursed souls and like and all the other counselors are there off to the side like which campers which counselor is that who is that is that me something like it's like
So is there actually,
and
yeah, so they
so
were, I love that they were describing like, first you think they're going to describe just a, a strict counselor or something, but they start, doing an elaborate description of just fucking a demon. And you're saying the demon was kind of a camp counselor they didn't know, or you're saying like the demon was kind of supernatural in that he appeared to the campers, but not the camp counselors.
The latter, yeah. He appeared to the campers,
That's
and like,
fucking hilarious. How do you
instead
know?
of just
Like,
how to.
yeah,
Sorry,
how do
what?
you know you're twisted? I mean, because I mean, both your ideas are fucking hilarious, and that demon one is fucking positively. Again, you took kind of a tired setting. I've seen it, and you made it fucking hilarious, and it could be hilarious in the first 5 seconds. And how the fuck do you know you're twisted in this exact way where you're born to be a sketch writer? That's fantastic.
Uh, I guess like it's just, I sort of just like will have these kind of like um I just store like a lot of like these weird kind of specifics in my head where like I know I'll have like that memory of like the last day of camp when we're all doing like that show and we're impersonating counselors. That to me is the hard part. It's actually finding those like because like sketch comedy's been going on for so long. It's like this every premise has been almost exhausted. Every setting has been like you were just saying with like the bar and like the pirate ship. Like it's like we've seen every setting, and
Yeah.
it's really the big challenge now is really identifying. I'd say tropes, but that makes it sound like I'm talking about movies and television. It's really it can be real life, like these real life tropes, these real life kind of situations we find ourselves in. I think that is almost more of a challenge than like I think once you kind of find that thing, like, oh, that's right, that's like the funny thing that happens. Like at the end of camp, we all like do the impressions of the counselors. That to me, like once I had that, then I can like have fun with it and get ridiculous and like be like, oh, well, what would be a silly thing that happened there?
Yeah.
Oh, I personally like demon humor. I like gravitating towards like like that whole that kind of serpent lord sort of like evil sentient being, whatever. Like
Yeah.
I think that so there's a lot of humor to mine in that, and like like just I think that to me is more the easy part than like identifying the sort of recognizable moments.
Yeah, and somebody like Kimberly Denaro is good at kind of, adding specifics onto her jokes that make it just funnier and funnier as it goes on. Because you're like, she keeps going on and it keeps getting more and more creative. And that's, I saw a lot of that in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where Captain Holt's character would talk about Captain Wunsch, his nemesis, and he talked about her in terms of a Korean hair monster who would choke you with her hair while you went to the bathroom. And so meaning, yeah, he would haunt outhouses, choke you with her hair until your bowels emptied out and you died or something. Like he kept getting more and more specific, and I love that. And even Gabe Nathans was
Yeah.
on it. He was talking about bar mitzvah party being like, okay, the after party is something that, at the very best happens next door. So I mean the parents are in one room, the kids are in another room, and your 13-year-old self gets to grind against somebody. And like I could see Ethan David just doing something like, yeah, we're just going next door. Yeah, we're just going next door. And then then you finally see what next door is, and it's like a cracked den, and they're doing some crazy shit. But I guess,
Yeah,
that leads me
yeah.
to the question of, when you finally do a short film, and you did, this is what I look like naked. How did you come up with the idea? Because if you're a twisted motherfucker, and I love it, how do you, it says a comedy short film about an inside joke turned mega pop song. First of all, can you reveal the inside joke or the pop song, or are they just both kind of like you don't want to burn material, and the pop song is not like just a both of them are unique, made up for this film, right? You didn't say that your inside joke turned into like a Taylor Swift song or something.
I am actually best friends with Taylor Swift, and she did singing on certain jokes. I think, yeah, no, this is actually very personal to me. No, yeah, it really, the whole thing stemmed from just like, this really one kind of scene I had in mind. I think I probably thought it would be like a sketch or something where I did karaoke once, like a couple years ago, and I was just like, doing one of those private room karaoke's. I just had the thought in my head. I was like, just like imagining myself just like in that small karaoke room by myself singing, like how nice it would be just like rent out one of those rooms alone. And I just like had this image in my head of someone like singing karaoke alone. And that's
Right.
kind of like that's actually a scene like towards the end of the film. And I feel like I kind of just built it out from there, more so than any like kind of personal like, incident. But there is like relatable sentiments in it. But so yeah, sorry, to answer your question, it's basically this is what I look like naked is the name of the song. We actually recorded this pop song, and the inside joke is that these two friends, when they were younger, they would sing this song. We see that in the short film, like the genesis of the joke, where they're like singing, like looking in the mirror, like this is what I look like, this is what I look like, and then like someone's like asleep, and he kind of mutters in his sleep like naked, and then like they start cracking up. It's like, and then it's like it's this intimate moment that like you had to be there. Like it's like that's the whole thing with inside jokes. It's like it's only really funny to people who are there. So I wanted to really clue the audience in and make it so it was like they felt like they were there for that moment. And then
and it says for two estranged friends. So this is kind of the fact that it became a pop hit brought them back together.
Yeah, it's like years later now. One of them works at a karaoke bar, and the other one is this mega famous pop star. And she took this inside joke and made it this mega hit pop song, which they're now all singing at the karaoke bar. So she's like watching all these strangers get up on stage and sing.
No!
Like so personal to her.
Oh, that's cool though. That's cool because then you're like, oh, this pop star got all big. She probably forgot about me, but no, oh shit, the song that everybody's singing and bringing into my karaoke bar is about our inside joke. So this pop star didn't forget me.
Yeah, it's like it starts reflecting on their friendship, and we start seeing kind of flashbacks of like that sort of journey. But it is just like also like a silly comedy. Like it's just, like the music video is very silly. It's like Nimini Wera is her name. She's an incredible singer. I was on another sketch comedy team under a program called Boogie Manja.
Sure.
And along with Cami Dimitrova, who plays Zoe, and the main character, the karaoke DJ. She was also on that team, and so like I knew that they would have like that great dynamic in that Nimini's this incredible singer. So we like filmed like a goofy music video for it. And then like, we see like everyone's at the bar, like singing the song. It's like Tammy sort of having these flashbacks to her and Nimini. Yeah.
And so now that like the work that goes into, kind of making a high quality short film as opposed to just, like a live sketch that might also be filmed, has it kind of changed your outlook on what future sketches you would turn into a comedy short? Like you're like, oh shit, this is fucking hard. Let me make sure that the next one, really does a quality treatment of that demon counselor.
I feel like every idea I have, I run it through every single medium. I run it. I'm like, is it a sketch? Is it a short film? Is it like a satire piece? Is it a tweet? Is it like a tweet that I'm just gonna put out into the ether and then delete after 2 minutes because it didn't get a lot of likes?
So what gets to the comedy short film, and what sketches like, oh shit, that's going to become a comedy short film because it'll look good with a quality visual and a quality sound?
Yeah, I think it's just like I'm constantly just like looking for what I think has like more of a 3-act structure to it. And, like I would want to see more than like a sketch, and also like I want like sketches to be a little bit more absurdist, I think. And like a little bit more like unexpected and like unrealistic, where it's like a short film. I mean, I dig short films that are absurdist too and like unrealistic, but I think like in terms of my taste, I want it to be at least grounded enough that I can like make it somewhat plausible. And so that there are different like kind of approaches there in that sense. I think like with this one, it was just really just like a really half idea in my head of like someone doing karaoke in a bar alone. I just thought and I was like, one day I just kind of had that thought. I was like, okay, well, like, why are they like, do they work there? Maybe it's just after the bar closes, and then it's just kind of branched out from there as if you're like, just like building something from scratch, and you're just like, I started piecing out these elements together. And also another thing is, the original idea was just kind of, it would be like, everyone at the bar is singing a real song that like her and her friend used to like when they were younger, and it just kind of makes her think of her old friendship and how it grew apart. Not necessarily an inside joke or that it was her friend that sung the song. But then I went to like look into music licensing, and it's like $20,000 to like, which is way more than my budget for this entire film. Wow. To like license like any like recognizable song in the ether, and all like there's not really a lot of like royalty free songs besides like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and Happy Birthday. So it's like I couldn't find like a curious. Like I actually reached out to like what's that song? Like knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want like that
Yeah.
song.
Oh, that's
I thought
Tony Orlando and Don. Yeah, it's one of my faves.
Tony Orlando, yeah. And so I was like, I reached out to like that, like actual like I don't know, estate or whatever, not estate, but like
Yeah,
the
Tony, Don,
or
anybody?
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I called Tony Orlando, but no, and they got back to me like the 20 grand thing or whatever. I just like didn't respond. I was like, even responding was too scary to me, as if I had some liability to owe them that. And
Oh
so I was
yeah.
like, and that inspired the premise of like, oh well, what if I just wrote a song? And
I
then
love that.
what if
All of a sudden, Ethan David's like, "Why don't we just invent a song?"
yeah,
Necessity is
like
the
another
mother.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, necessity is the mother of invention. I like that answer though about something being 3 acts, because yeah, I can see that being 3 acts. Whereas the camp counselor thing, that's just an Ethan David sketch. I don't want to see a first act where the demon. That's just the joke. I want the joke to be revealed in the ever evolving, elaborate description of the demon, with the camp counselors just looking at each other like, who the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah.
But see, that's Ethan David funny, and man, he's bringing together. He's the person unifying the Boogie Manja and the UCB mod team, the Bedrock Comedy, and that's fucking hilarious. I can't believe that's even done, but Ethan David can do it, and he does it. He does his funny at Ethan Davidism at both Twitter and Instagram. He's EthanDavidComedy.com and Bedrock Comedy on Instagram. And that might also be on Twitter, but that's, on Instagram is where you'll find, upcoming sketches and things like that. But also, This Is What I Look Like Naked, which looks like, I'm looking at on Instagram here. It's an official selection, August 2020, Indie Short Fest, and that's in LA, man. You are bi-coastal.
Yeah, it's one of those festivals that's a first safe opportunity, granted, because of the pandemic. We are screening in November at Yonkers Film Festival. It'll be a virtual film festival.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
the exact dates yet, but I'll have that on my Instagram. And the handle is This Is What I Look Like Naked. Is not a sex spot. It is a short film. You would not be hacked or anything.
You're not seeing Ethan David naked, as disappointing as
you would. I will say it was definitely harrowing, like sending all those emails to like people asking if they wanted to be a part of a project. So many emails when you're making a short film. It's just like having a title like that was difficult.
Yeah, well, that's fucking cool. Ethan David, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Brian.